we're going to change the dry gas meter in. And the first thing we want to do is turn the power off at the UPS. So we hit the 0 button. And now we've essentially taken the power off of the GSM. We need to pull the GSM out, which requires us to take the 8 mounting screws off from the rack. And we'll do that first. Those are all Phillips head. Okay, we removed the 8 screws from the rack, and now we're going to slide the GSM out. And we want to slide it about halfway, and at this point we should go into the back around the unit and check the wiring harness to make sure that it hasn't snagged on anything, because we wouldn't want to pull that loose. And at this point, once we verified that, we pull it the rest of the way, and pull it far enough so that you can actually see the 3 screws, mounting screws in the rear. There's a total of 9 screws that hold the top of the GSM. There's 3 on each side and then 3 in the rear. And so we need to take all 9 of those out, once again with a Phillips head screwdriver. Okay, we've removed the 9 screws from the lid. You can now pick it right off. And this will give us access to the dry gas meter. We're going to change the B side meter out. And to make things easier on us, we're going to start by loosening the top screws. So just like with the one from Stores, we'll take the 2 Phillips screws first. And then we'll need our star driver. Okay, we removed the 2 screws. And once again, if we go on the left side of the meter, we can split the 2 halves apart with a flat blade very carefully at this point. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it there for a second. We'll go ahead and take the hoses off. And now we're ready to take the mounting screws off down below. Okay, the mounting screws are a little difficult to get to because they're down in the bottom of the cabinet here. That's why we need about an 8-inch or 10-inch extension. We have our 11/32 inch driver here, and just slip it down in there. And there's one on either side. Just loosen it. If you have a magnetic driver, that would be advantageous right now to get those out, but you can also use some needle nose pliers, or if your hands are small enough, you can reach down in there and pull the nuts out. Okay, so we've got the mounting screws off the bottom plate, and I'm going to take the head off and then pull the bottom straight out. I can set it aside, and I need to rest the head somewhere where it won't fall. And now we're ready to put the replacement bottom in. Okay, we have our replacement meter now. And one thing we need to note is the orientation of this hole, which should be on the right side. We want to insert the meter such that that hole is on the right side, and that is regardless of whether we're doing the A side or the B side meter. So we very carefully lower the meter onto the studs, make sure the tubing's out of the way, and it should fit right over the studs down there. And now we need to put the 2 nuts back on, which is a little difficult because of the cramped quarters. And once again, if you don't have a magnetic driver, you're going to want to use some needle nose pliers so that you can get the nuts situated. Okay, we've tightened the 2 mounting nuts, and now we'll put the original head back. And you want to make sure that this piece here actually goes in between these 2 tangent arms, so you have to sort of maneuver it into place Make sure that the gasket stays centered. And we're ready to put the head screws back in there. Okay, we've replaced the 4 head screws. We've tightened each one just to snugness, try to get them equal. And now we can replace the tubing. And depending on the side that you're working on, the tubing will either cross over or not. The essential thing to note is that the right side tubing will actually go to the flow meter. So whether you're on the B side or the A side, the tubing on the right goes to your flow meter. Okay, so we've essentially completed the task. At this point we'd want to put the lid back on, slide it back in, turn the power back on, and we would either at this point calibrate it or put it back into service. In either case, we need to leak check it to make sure that the gasket seals properly and that we haven't loosened any tubing. But at that point we'd be ready to go.